What's up, most amazing top 10? Hey, quick question. Do I look like Gary Sinise? Do I look like the guy from Forrest Gump who plays Lieutenant Dan? Someone told me I look like Gary Sinise the other day, and I'm like, really? I have to ask the thousands of viewers here and be like, hey, help me out. Do I look like Lieutenant Dan? Please tell me. It's not a bad thing. I just need to know. All right, with that, here are the top 10 scariest rooms that you are prohibited from entering for your own protection. Yeah, don't stay the night in one of these. You're gonna get haunted for sure. Let's do this. Starting our list off at number 10, the Stranahan House. Okay, you don't want to be stranded at the Stranahan House, that's for sure. Fort Lauderdale, it has a few haunted hidden gems, apparently. It's always Florida, always something going on over there. The oldest house just happens to be the most haunted. What do you know? I could have guessed that, that's for sure. The house's OG owner was that of Frank Stranahan, and today if you visit ye old stomping grounds, well, you might actually catch a photo of Frank himself. Yeah, it's said that he still oversees the place as a ghost. He regularly shows up in guests' photos, so I don't know, maybe he likes the attention. Maybe he likes photobombing, I'm not sure. I suppose being trapped in the same house for all of eternity gets a little boring. I mean, sure, fair. Ivy Stranahan, Frank's late wife, well, she's also made an appearance or two. Yeah, true love is haunting the same house together. That's really it. Guests have felt a cold hand on their shoulder, and her perfume still lingers in the hallways, so must have been some good strong stuff, that's for sure. Now, it's not all fun and games with the phantom family members. Augustus Stranahan, Frank's father, well, his ghost, he likes to throw books from time to time over in the library, so let's avoid that library, shall we? Let's do it. Next, number 9, the Tampa Theatre. If you're a theater kid, you're gonna love this one. You're gonna be singing West Side Story tunes in no time. Tampa Theatre opened back in 1926. Today, the theater is said to be haunted by a woman that was struck and, sadly, her life was taken by a carriage on the property. By a carriage. What a sad, slow way to go. This was actually before the theater was built, keep that in mind. So her spirit had been there for a while, and then it was built, and then immediately it's haunted. The janitors are like, what? It's been one day, how is this possibly haunted? If you go to Tampa Theatre today, you might catch a glimpse of a woman in a white gown walking across the mezzanine hallway. Imagine telling somebody to sit down during a show and then they just disappear. You're like, okay, that works just as well. That's great, thank you. Tampa Theatre, of course, has leaned into these claims. Now they offer the Ghosts of Tampa Theatre Tour, of course, where you can line up and pay money to, you know, go and get spooked, I guess. Now, guests can learn about its haunted history and it's fun, but still, would you go? Would you pay money to go somewhere that's knowingly haunted? I wouldn't. Definitely not. Sound off below, would you? The comments are like, yeah, I would. Gary Sinise, Gary Sinise. I'd definitely go. What have I done? Number 8, the Biltmore, Florida Hotel. Again, it's always Florida. What's going on over there? Another room to avoid at all costs. This time it's the entire property. Let's just turn right instead of left. First of all, do you like staying at a hotel? Some people love it. Some people find it relaxing. I can't sleep at all. I always get sick for some reason. I like get the shivers. I don't know. Maybe I'm staying in all the haunted hotels. Must be me. The Biltmore Hotel in the city of Coral Gables is one of the most haunted hotels ever. It all started back in 1926 during initial construction. The Biltmore witnessed a foul killing on the 13th floor. Again, during construction, these things are always doomed. The Biltmore also turned into a military hotel during World War II, and then it was closed afterwards and ultimately abandoned later in 1968. So yeah, tons of ghosts walking down those hallways. The city renovated the hotel back in the 1980s, but again, didn't take long for ghost stories to spread. Of course, the most activity is on the 13th floor. So if you check this one out, really double down, you know, really go for it and stay a night at the 13th floor. I can't believe some buildings don't have a 13th floor. Well, they do, but everyone wants to pretend like they don't. You know what I mean? We all know. Going up that staircase, you're counting, you're like, oh, they lied. Number 7, Whaley House. Located in San Diego and built in 1857. The Whaley House is an example of why you don't build your house on cursed lands. Yeah, let's go to the next plot over. This one seems a little occupied. A little Elden Rings action going on here. The site that this family's home was built on was also the location of San Diego's first ever public gallows. Ah, nice. What a fun fact that is. Let's move in. And apparently, right after moving in, Thomas Whaley said he could hear the footsteps of Yankee Jim Robinson, who had lost his life in the same gallows only 4 years prior. That's terrifying. How do you not know? 4 years ago? Come on. After the family had settled, they had all began to experience a bunch of family tragedies, most of which actually happened inside the house. Inside the house. Hence the cursed land aspect, right? Now we're kind of putting it together. As of today, the Whaley House is a museum, and apparently the family members continue to haunt that said museum. So sadly, you can't live there anymore or sleep there, but you have to pay a little pretty penny and go and take a look and take a sniff. I don't know why I said take a sniff, but sure, some people like to smell old history. Why not? Number 6, British Museum's adult room. All right, get those kids out of here for this one. Send them to bed. Put on your Peep and Tom glasses for this one. I don't know, that's weird. The British Museum, they have a long, very long adult-themed room, and it's exactly what you think. The museum itself dates back to the mid-1700s, right? So since its initial opening, the museum only let 10 people in at a time. You know, it's like, hey, too much content in here, too much scandalous content for that many eyes, one at a time. Everyone's sweating, getting all weird. Now, of course, it holds many more every day. Some parts of this collection, not everybody can handle. For example, in the Victorian era, the museum had a secret room for obscene objects, or objects that are deemed perverse, things that, you know, the public can't really see without a warning. There's a part of a temple wall that shows the dirty deed itself. There's a big painting of, you know, just some weird movements with people. Everyone's all wet. It's intimate. Intimate ancient yoga right there. Hide their eyes. In the same collection, there also includes a Roman terracotta lamp that depicts a naked woman on a crocodile. Ooh, where should we put that lamp? Maybe the living room. The Cabinet of Obscene Objects. Sounds like a Harry Potter book, doesn't it? That's fascinating. You know what? I lied. Check this room out. Don't avoid this one. Let's go peep our heads in. Number 5, flesh-eating beetle room. Ugh, if you don't like bugs, you're gonna hate this one. Sorry, Jen, if you're watching. This is gonna suck. Enough about ancient butts and ancient, you know, yoga, hot yoga. Let's move on to some of the weird stuff, shall we? For example, in Chicago's Field Museum, this one is full of secret rooms. One's really disgusting. One of these rooms, you'll never catch me in, that's for sure. The flesh-eating beetle room. Do I have to say anything more? I don't know. Can you imagine this exhibit on a field trip? I would throw up immediately. I'd have to call my parents at like 10:51 a.m. The Field Museum uses hide beetles to clean its specimens. Yeah, so they're alive. Real beetles are in there working. 9 to 5 in there. Yeah, in order to get each of these carcasses ready for showtime, these beetles are on the clock. They're business oriented. In just a few hours, a small rodent can be completely cleaned. Right down to the bone. Gone. Like me after I eat wings. Just nothing left. Just a corpse. Imagine this is where Peter Parker got his powers. Ew. So gross. Number 4, the secret insect room. Ugh, more? Come on. If you're at Liverpool and for some reason that last one you enjoyed, well, here we go. There's more bug rooms. Here we go. Do I have the tea for you? Inside the World Museum in Liverpool lies a secret room, and inside it contains around 1 million insects. Now, this time they're dead, but it's still pretty bad. I'm itchy just thinking about this one. This collection began back in 1855. The 13th Earl of Derby, not the 12th, the 13th Earl of Derby, he's like, you know what I need? A cupboard full of shiny bugs. That's what we should focus on instead of, you know, feeding people that don't have food. So now, thousands of specimens hide in this room, including the world's largest beetle and the world's largest moth. Again, disgusting. Imagine Night at the Museum, but it takes place in this one. Ugh. Ben Stiller's like, yeah, we're gonna make it rated R. Number 3, room 206. Yeah, this one gives Stephen King's 1408 vibes. You're gonna absolutely love it. I'm not sure you're ready, honestly. Next time you visit, you guessed it, Florida, make sure that you read every customer review before you check into every hotel, okay? Room 206 at the Super on International Drive. Apparently it's super haunted. Yeah, you wanna super avoid this one. I don't know, I tried 3 there, it didn't work. Guests have reported the bed shaking in the middle of the night, which is not great for trying to get your beauty sleep. And they've also reported freezing cold air even though the AC was not turned on. Maybe that's why I was shivering this whole time. Oh God. And the worst of all, guests have seen their bed look as if somebody was just laying there, like, you know, indents, even though it's perfectly made before checking in. That's terrifying. Can ghosts squat? We've got a couple of ghost squatters in our room. We gotta change rooms. Number 2, King Tut's belongings. The new Grand Egyptian Museum finally opened to the public back in 2021. And while that's quite recent, the contents displayed inside certainly are not. For the first time in history, all of King Tut's artifacts will be on display. See, prior to this museum being opened, we only saw about 150 artifacts from his tomb, and they all went on tour, you know, like a band. They just went around the world and just haunted different locations with old ancient Egyptian curses. But now this museum will stay in one place. Now it will house thousands of artifacts in a beautiful space that pans over 7,000 square meters. It's massive. Now, cut back to the initial discovery of King Tut's tomb, November 4th, 1922. Ancient history was unearthed. A team of researchers led by British archaeologist Howard Carter discovered this entrance to King Tut's tomb, and it was fascinating. They found history right there, literally at the front steps. They're like, hey, let's go in, why not? It'll happen. Only 3 weeks later, King Tut's actual tomb was unearthed, and history hasn't been disturbed in over 3,000 years. Then we came in and made him an exhibit. Now he's just, there's all his stuff. There we go. This discovery spawned the curse of the pharaohs. You've probably heard of this. Because almost every expert involved in the initial discovery, they all experienced horrible luck. Howard Carter, the archaeologist who discovered the tomb, he gave a paperweight to his friend Bruce Ingham as a gift. Now that paperweight in question was a mummified hand wearing a bracelet. Why you'd give that to anybody as a gift, let alone a paperweight, is beyond me. Inscribed on that bracelet read the phrase, "Cursed be he who moves my body." Ingham's house, believe it or not, burned to the ground not long after receiving that gift. Who could have predicted that one? And then when he tried to rebuild the home, it was destroyed again in a flood. Yeah, talk about bad luck. That's why you don't steal cursed things. And finally, number 1, St. Augustine's Lighthouse. The St. Augustine Lighthouse is located in Florida and was built between 1871 and 1874 and was considered Florida's first official lighthouse. Before then, everybody was like, I can't see. And since then, there have been several tragic events over the following years, but even during initial construction, there were several freak accidents on site that lead many to believe that it's haunted today. Today, said spirits are still lurking about. Sightings of shadowy figures are common, but one time, somebody saw a hand come through the tower door, like a floaty hand, like from Idle Hands. How terrifying is that? Can you imagine? That's horrible. Several guests have also reported furniture moving around on its own. One person even said that they had some of their arm hairs plucked off while in the basement, which is a little personal if you ask me, honestly. Another guest even felt someone grab their ankle at one point while walking down a hallway, which actually caused them to trip and fall. That's terrifying. Imagine looking down and seeing nobody. Getting chills thinking about that. Would you stay the night in any of these rooms or hotels or buildings, or would you go any of these places? I wouldn't. There's no way. You wouldn't catch me there if you paid me $1 million. No way. Those are the top 10 scariest rooms that you are prohibited from entering for your own protection. I am Taylor McWaters. Keep being you, and we'll see you next time on Most Amazing Top 10.